The Abyssarian Merchant. Copyright by Cupideros, Friday, April 16th, 2010. A sun-tanned female merchant tried her hand at several different fields, but failed. One day she reconsidered her options and decided to make some money from the only thing she had available. She had a traveling tent, all the religious books of her day, food supplies, and her 2 parrots, a male and female. Now this female merchant was an Abyssarian. That is to say, she believed in the void, the abyss, that created the 10,000 things as revealed by the last prophet CE. At this time, Christianity was fading fast, Islam was fading fast, Buddhism, Taoism, Shintoism, Shamanism, and other religions still existed. She studied them all, but Abyssarianism was the now dominant religion. You wouldn't know an Abyssarian from any other religion in that Abyssarians can use any truth to live Abyssarian truth, as long as it matched up with the truth. Our purpose is to return to the void, the abyss. This female merchant also studied philosophy, sciences, and all the other isms. For the last prophet CE had said, whatever people loved was their religion, their ism. All this the female merchant taught first to her male parrot. Okay, said the female merchant one day to her male parrot. The female merchant dressed up like a businessman, mustache and all. She walked out of her tent, waited a few seconds, and opened the door flap and came back in. She walked up to the male parrot's bird cage and waited. The male parrot looked at the female merchant up and down. Then the male parrot sang out, "Greed is love." The female merchant said, "No, no, no, you have to be diplomatic. Tune into the person. You must consider your relationship with the person. Be like Jesus and Lao Tzu. Okay?" The female merchant said, "We will try this again." Try again, said the male parrot. The female merchant got a bad feeling in her gut when she heard those words, but she needed to make money. What could she do but try to make her male parrot tell wisdom in the right way? The female merchant came back in the tent as an atheist this time. She scowled at the male parrot. The male parrot looked the female merchant up and down. After a few seconds he said, "Hating goddess and God is love." Shocked, the female merchant dropped her head. Say the truth in the right way. I've taught you all the truths, all the isms. You know them, said the female merchant. Again you try again, sang the male parrot. Again the female merchant went out, and this time she came back dressed as a policeman. She walked up to the bird cage. The male parrot sang out, "Abusing power is love." That's not what I taught you to say. I've read you every text of Abyssarian. You know what to say. The female merchant shrugged her shoulders and said, "Well, I'll try the female parrot." The female merchant completed the entire process again. She trained the female parrot in all the religions of her day and all the isms, and read everything written by the last prophet CE. She finished at last. Now she would try the female parrot. Okay, said the Abyssarian merchant. She dressed up as a businessman. She donned a heavy mustache. She walked out of her tent, waited a few seconds, and opened the door flap and came back in. She walked up to the female parrot's bird cage and waited. The female parrot looked the female merchant up and down. Then the female parrot sang out, "Money is love." The female merchant clapped her hands excited. "Yes, yes." Then she cast the male parrot a glare. "See, diplomatic, tuned in. You must consider your relationship with the person. Okay, the female merchant said. We will try this again. The female parrot remained silent. The female merchant got a good feeling in her gut. This is going to work marvelously. She came back as an atheist. She scowled at the female parrot. The female parrot looked at the female merchant up and down. After a few seconds, she said, "Not believing is love." "Wonderful, wonderful," said the female merchant. The female parrot remained silent. Again, the female merchant went out, and this time came back dressed as a policeman. She walked up to the bird cage. The female parrot sang out, "Stopping chaos is love." "Splendid!" The female merchant clapped heartily. "Now all I have to do is find a nice-sized city, set up business, and hire some strong men and women to carry all the money I'll make to the local bank." The female merchant caught a train to the nearest large city, 1 mile away, and set up her tent in the local market. Lots of people mean lots of money. When she was ready, she covered up the male parrot's cage so he stayed quiet and could not see what was going on. The female parrot stood on her tiny round wooden swing in the middle of her clean golden bird cage. This horizontal wooden peg the female parrot loved standing and swinging on. Off to the right side, standing on its tip, another wooden peg she could fly and rest on. A mirror placed behind her kept her company in between customers. The female parrot also had fresh water and food. "Remember," said the Abyssarian merchant, "you are an Abyssarian parrot, so you know the truth. You know what to say." "Abyssarian," sang the female parrot. "Abyssarian." Female merchant went outside and hung her sign over the tent. "Female parrot knows all religions, all isms. Come here. Come see." She hired 2 strong men and 2 strong women to guard the empty sack where she would place her golden coins. People began to line up behind the female merchant's long wooden table with words and symbols and pictures of all of the religion names printed in pink on a black tablecloth. "This is going to be fun," said one little 13-year-old girl. "Oh, I bet it's going to be a joke," said one guy who looked like a sailor. Everyone made their little comments as they lined up. The female merchant could see professors, soldiers, businesswomen and men, artists, dancers, old and young and in between. The female merchant explained the rules. "I've taught this parrot everything she knows. Soon as you enter the tent, walk up to the bird cage and wait for your answer. If you don't like your answer, I will refund your 2 gold coins." But an agnostic was the first person in line before the 13-year-old girl. The agnostic man paid his 2 coins and went in. "I'm always willing to listen to the truth," he said, strutting up to the female parrot's cage in the tent's center. The female parrot studied him. "The unknown is love." "What?" "Wait, what do you mean by the unknown?" said the agnostic. "You love what you don't know for sure." The agnostic man stood baffled, but he admitted the female parrot was right. The man scratched his balding head as he slowly opened the back door of the tent. The Abyssarian merchant had a wireless earpiece where she could listen to the bird's answers from outside the closed tent. She did this to see if the customer was satisfied or not. She also wanted to know if the female parrot said the right answers. It would come in handy also to know when the customers had left the back door tent, because a tiny little bell rang. The ringing bell served to reward the female parrot too. The 13-year-old girl went inside the tent. She walked into the center where the female parrot sat swinging in her birdcage. The female parrot looked at the young girl with 2 natural roses on her cheeks. And she looked her up and down and said, "School is love." "By the abyss, how did you know? I just love school. I am super curious about all things." The 13-year-old girl left, very excited and amazed. The female merchant smiled after receiving the 2 gold coins and sent in the sailor. The sailor laughed and walked up to the bird cage. "I had a parrot like you once." The female parrot remained silent as she studied him. "Sailing the seas is love. By my parrots, my pirates, family blood, I love to sail. I am stuck on this land now, and it's awful." The little bell rang, and the female merchant sent in the next customer, an old woman. The female parrot looked into the old woman's wrinkled face and down her frail body and said, "Family is love." A Christian woman came in. She wore a cross around her neck. The female parrot noticed everything about her and sang out, "Jesus is love." A Catholic man came in. The female parrot chirped, "Peter is love." A scientist came into the tent and eyed the parrot skeptically. "Never doubt what you have been tested." "What do I love, parrot?" "Proving things is love." Before the ballet dancer could waltz into the tent center, the female parrot sang, "Movement is love." The ballet dancer was astonished. A Buddhist came in to see the female parrot. His robe swished as he went inside the tent. The female parrot looked him over and said, "Buddha is love." The bell rang and a politician came inside the tent and stood before the female parrot. "Promises are love," said the female parrot quickly. A female scholar holding several thick research journals entered. "Knowledge is love," sang the female parrot. "Cute," said the female scholar. However, she had a friend behind her who hated her job, but was also a scholar and professor. But she really wanted to be a painter. The second female scholar came in. She too had research journals in her hand. "Painting with words is love." The second female scholar gasped, "That's so true. It's uncanny." The little bell rang, and the female merchant could hear the 2 ladies discussing their different answers. A boy went in. The female parrot said, "Toys are love." An older boy went in. The female parrot said again, "Toys are love." A depressed teenage girl came inside the tent. She expected the parrot to be bigger and was disappointed. "Whatever. What do I love?" said the depressed girl. As if matching her moves, the female parrot moved really slow as she examined her and then rose on her legs excitedly and said, "Boredom is love." "I so do not love boredom," argued the teenage girl. But the female parrot refused to get into a relationship argument with the girl and remained silent for a minute before replying, "Love is being bored." The girl found this answer more acceptable because she had often been told, "You love boredom." Now happy, the girl left the tent and the little bell rang. An actor went to see the female parrot that knew all religions and isms. Once inside, the female parrot sang to him, "Being fake is love." An inventor didn't know what to expect, for she didn't know her isms. The female parrot did, though. She sang out, "Creating things is love." The female merchant sent in a man dressed in a military general's uniform. The female parrot looked at him and sang, "War is love." A security agent was allowed in after paying his fee. The female parrot said, "Secrecy is love." A famous painter came into the tent, and the female parrot did not recognize her. It didn't matter. The female parrot said, "Colors are love." A second security agent entered after giving his 2 gold coins. The female parrot sang, "Sneaky acts are love." A male porn star came into the tent. He wore a black satin shirt open to his navel. The female parrot looked him up and down and sang, "Sex is love." A female porn star in a micro mini dress entered the tent. She was the wife of the previous male porn star. It didn't matter. The parrot sang out, "Money is love." A third security agent went in after the Abyssarian merchant received her gold coins. The female parrot sang, "Lies are love." A CEO came into the tent after paying his 2 gold coins. The female parrot guessed correctly. "Managing large businesses is love." Then came in a banker. The parrot studied him, and she said, "Saving is love." A Shinto believer came into the tent. The female parrot hopped from her swing to her vertical standing peg and stood still. Then she hopped back onto the swing. "Oh, how wise," said the Shinto master as he left the tent. An architect came inside the tent. He noticed the structure of the tent. The parrot noticed this and said to him, "Building things is love." A lawyer entered the tent and, walking in his confident, straight pose, stood before the female parrot in a commanding way. "Redefining words is love," sang the female parrot. He laughed. "So true," he said. A doctor entered the tent. He was dressed in regular clothes, though. But the parrot recognized and diagnosed him. "Stopping suffering is love." A psychologist entered the tent. The parrot sang, "Mind is love." A psychiatrist entered the tent. The parrot shouted, "Trying the mind is love." A female fashion designer came in wearing some old 20th century clothing. The female parrot, after studying her, said, "Fabric is love." An actress came inside the tent. The female parrot sang out, "Fame is love." A tailless believer came inside the tent. And the female parrot said, "Nameless is love." An athlete came to see the female parrot. The female parrot did not hesitate. She said, "Fast action is love." A groupie came in, that is to say, someone who loved movie stars, singers, and sports personalities. The female parrot announced, "Loving famous people is love." A nanny came inside to see the parrot on her day off. The female parrot said, "Baby is love." A tired mom came in. She was alone and trying to relax. The female parrot said, "Sharing energy is love." A male who loved trekking outdoors and camping came inside the tent. The female parrot said, "Nature is love." His female partner came in next, and she was wearing her beige hiking outfit, and the female parrot said, "Saving the planet is love." A cat store owner thought this would be amusing and entered the tent. The female parrot replied, "Dangerous animals are love." At first, the cat store owner didn't understand. The female merchant listening rushed in concerned. "I'm sorry. She's done so well up until this point. I can't understand you're wanting your money. I can understand if you want your money back." No, thought the woman. "I have a cat shelter business. I guess from the parrot's point of view, those are dangerous animals I love. I do love all my cats, no matter what horrible or nice places they come from." "I see," said the female merchant. She smiled. "I trained her, my parrot, in all the isms. Whatever you love, my parrot can tell you all about it." The amazed cat store owner opened the back door tent, triggering a little bell. An accountant came inside the tent. The female parrot sang out, "Numbers are love." A young mom holding her new infant came into the tent. The young mom immediately held up the infant. The female parrot called out, "Bundle is love." The young mom frowned. The parrot nodded her head and said, "Baby loves mom." The woman smiled and was satisfied. A writer came inside the tent. female parrot sang out, "Groups of words are love." But then a poet came inside into the tent. Out came the female parrot's words. "Words on words is love." Another agnostic entered the tent. He thought he'd confused the female parrot. The female parrot looked him up and down. "Doubts are love. Doubts are love." The little bell rang as the agnostic left. But quickly the little bell rang again, and the female merchant heard the female parrot cry out, "Stilly things is love. Stilly things is love." The female merchant motioned with a finger for one strong man inside the tent and one strong female outside the back door of the tent. Sure enough, they caught a man trying to steal the female parrot. She was flapping around wildly in her cage, clinging to the gold sidebars. Her water spilled half out. Some of her food crackers lay on the floor of the cage. The strong woman caught the guy as he tried to exit the tent. She pushed the man back inside the tent, where the strong man captured him. The strong woman gently placed the bird's cage back on his table in the tent's center, while the strong man took the thief to jail. The female merchant went inside and talked quietly with the female parrot. "You did good. Good bird. Merchant loves you." After about 3 minutes of this, the parrot was calm and all was good again. The female merchant went outside and started letting in more customers. An Islam believer entered the tent. She was very skeptical and wanted to change to Abyssarianism, but had not done so yet. So she still wore a veil from head to toe. The female parrot looked her up and down and said, "Allah is love." Two female girls about 15 years of age wanted to go in together. The female merchant allowed them because they paid 4 gold coins. The giggling girls entered the tent. They stood before the female parrot, and one of them said, "She is smaller than I imagined," said an outgoing black girl. The female parrot considered their ponytails, t-shirts, skinny jeans, and gym shoes and said, "Boys are love." The 2 girls squealed and left the tent. 2 Islam believers entered. They paid their 4 coins but kept arguing for. One was a Sunni and another was a Shiite. "We will see who is right," said one. "Yeah, we will see who is right," said the other. Both approached the bird cage. The female parrot studied both of them carefully. Then she said, "Muhammad loves Allah. Muhammad loves Allah." The 2 stood in silence. Neither one could disagree with the female parrot's answers. The female merchant, listening, chuckled to herself as the 2 believers left the tent and the teeny little bell binged twice. This, the female merchant kept saying every so often to the crowd, "I've taught this parrot everything she knows. Soon as you enter the tent, walk up to the bird cage and wait for your answer. If you don't like your answer, I will refund you 2 gold coins." The female merchant had sent the strong man and woman away 3 times already with a bag full of gold coins. She placed an empty sack down, again flattened it to drop her coins into. When she looked up, she noticed an Abyssarian priestess standing in line with her black robe and her hood over her shoulder-length blonde split-end hair. She could barely make out the pale blue eyes, but she seemed friendly enough. She stood behind another man. The female merchant knew well Abyssarians don't have traditional teachers. There are only female priestesses as required by the last prophet CE. All Abyssarians believe you only have 2 teachers. 1, the supreme ruler mother goddess in heaven, and 2, the supreme ruler father God in heaven. You read the Abyssarian book, and keeping those 2 teachers, the only ones who know perfectly what they all mean and all of the answers. Thus, she was surprised to see the Abyssarian priestess standing in line. But then again, Abyssarians can gather information if they want. Where there was one Abyssarian, there too is the supreme ruler, mother goddess in heaven, and the supreme ruler, father God in heaven. The Abyssarian priestess read the sign over the tent as the female merchant sent in the man. A minute later, the little bell rang, and the female merchant, hearing it in her wireless earpiece, sent the Abyssarian priestess inside. The Abyssarian walked without noise up to the birdcage. She stood silent in front and waited. The female parrot looked at the priestess up and down. Then she turned her left eye to catch the Abyssarian priestess's eyes. And then the female parrot turned her right eye to catch the priestess's eyes. Then the female parrot nodded her head up and down and stood straight on her round wooden swing. The Abyssarian priestess watched and waited. Then slowly she held out both hands and said, "Okay, all right, I'm ready." The female parrot repeated the cryptic gesture. She turned her tiny black little eye to the left at the Abyssarian priestess's eye. Then she turned her tiny black right eye to view the priestess's pale blue eyes. Then the female parrot nodded her head up and down. The female merchant listened and began to worry. What's taking so long? The Abyssarian priestess said again, "Whenever you're ready, parrot." The Abyssarian priestess looked around towards the front of the tent. Then suddenly the female merchant rushed in. "Polly, give this Abyssarian priestess her answer." She motioned her open palm toward the priestess. Her split-end blonde hair still hung on the outside of her black hoodie robe. Polly turned her head to the left, showing the Abyssarian priestess her tiny left eye, and in a casual turn, positioned her head to the right, showing the Abyssarian priestess her tiny right eye. Then Polly nodded and stood still. The female merchant said, "What is this, Polly?" Then turning to the Abyssarian priestess, the merchant said, "I'm sorry. I've taught Polly all the Abyssarian scriptures written by the last prophet CE, the poems, the stories, the novels, the essays. I just can't understand this." "Wait." The female merchant gave a big smile. "I know what's wrong. I got it," she cooed. "It's been a long day, hasn't it, Polly? My lovely, smart, sweet bird." The female merchant rushed to the left side of Polly's bird cage behind the white sheet covered male bird cage and got a fresh bottle of water. She came back and emptied the old water out of the bird cage and put in new water. The female merchant thought quickly. Yes. She rushed again to the left side of the tent, picked out 2 fresh crackers and crushed them in her hands. She put them inside the small food tray of the parrot's cage, the female parrot's cage. "Let's clean out your cage too," said the female merchant. And she reached in and grabbed the wax paper, carefully folded it up, took it out, put it to the right side of Polly's cage, and placed it in a trash bin far away. "There, Polly," the female merchant cooed. Turning to the Abyssarian priestess, the female merchant said, "She'll give you your answer now." But Polly did not eat any of the new food or drink any of the new water and remained on her wooden, tiny swing. Then Polly turned her head to the left, showing the Abyssarian priestess her tiny left eye, and in a smooth turn positioned her head to the right, showing the Abyssarian priestess her tiny right eye. Then Polly nodded and stood still. The female merchant held out the 2 gold coins for the Abyssarian priestess to take back. The Abyssarian priestess took back the 2 gold coins and began to walk out. Just then, Polly the parrot said, "Silence is love! Silence is love!" The Abyssarian priestess looked around suddenly at the parrot. "There! That's it! Good girl!" said the female merchant. "That's what I taught you. See, Abyssarian priestess?" The Abyssarian priestess slowly walked back inside the tent. Deep inside her black hood, the female merchant could see a wry smile on the Abyssarian priestess's face. The priestess handed back the 2 gold coins into the hands of the female merchant. "Polly had it right the first time," she said coldly. any words stray from the truth of Abyssarianism. Sitting in silence is the one Abyssarian truth. I now know that you did not teach Polly this answer. That is the only reason why I came to your tent, merchant. For if you had taught Polly, you would have realized you are possibly perpetuating falsehoods. But, and the Abyssarian priestess smiled under her black hood, her eyes brighter. Now we both know. Only the Supreme Ruler Mother Goddess and the Supreme Ruler Father God taught Polly Abyssarianism. Polly the parrot looked at the Abyssarian priestess and turned her tiny black left eye to her, and then turned her tiny right black eye towards her, and then nodded once and stood straight on her tiny wooden peg. The Abyssarian priestess nodded silently to Polly and left the tent. The end. Well, if you want to hear more stories from Cupideros, they're on the website, Cupiderosbooks.com. I have some interesting stories that are on sale through Amazon.com and Lulu.com. And thank you for listening.